It's my life. Lazy. It's my life. I got dirty. It's my life.
Welcome back to Collect Them All or Die Trying, the spoiler rooms, comic cliff notes, Dark Ages, the conclusion. Now, before we kick off this epic conclusion of Dark Ages, I'd like to shout out my man Frank at Coffee and the Comic. So please check out Coffee and the Comic and get your hands on Dark Ages or any other comic you may see on my channel. The link in the description will also tell you how you can save 15% on your next order. What are you waiting for? Go spoil yourself. Now get your popcorn, hold on to your children, and keep your hands and feet inside the ride at all times. Welcome back to the epic conclusion of Marvel's Dark Ages. We open this issue with Miles Morales explaining how him and Venom found each other after the world went dark and worked pretty cohesively with each other for a while until Carnage came along. And having both Venom and Carnage whispering in his head set him on a path to lose it to the symbiotes completely. Now, the main reason the symbiotes are working for Apocalypse is because he told them what nobody else knows, that it's only a matter of time he awakens the Unmaker and stops the EMP, which is why he kidnapped all the inventors and the greatest minds. There will be a moment when the power goes back on, and he promised the symbiotes a ship to escape the planet before he destroys it completely. Then we jump back to Apocalypse and the mind control heroes, who, let's not forget, are the greatest minds on Earth. Riri Williams, Reed Richards, Otto Octavius, Hank McCoy, and of course, Tony Stark. And Octavius, he's pretty impressed with Stark and wants to know how Stark devised a way to deflect and absorb the amount of electromagnetism the EMP is giving off. And Stark, he's experimented for years with alchemy and has used every metal he could work with. But now with the resources from Apocalypse, it's possible. But the sphere would still crack under the pressure and Magneto just wouldn't survive. Now, the problem lies with the strength of the sphere to hold it together, and that the only substance to accomplish this would be pure adamantium. So if they don't have just adamantium laying around, it won't work. And with a sleazy Jeffrey Dahmer looking in his fridge smile again, Apocalypse confirms that he has what they need buried underneath them. And we're not just talking about some pile of rocks. We're talking about Wolverine. Logan Wolverine, that Apocalypse got locked up somewhere. And Apocalypse shows up with Scott Summers and Killgrave, to which Killgrave removes Cyclops' visors and tells Scott to open his eyes. And before Logan could even react, Scott's blast melts away every inch of skin, every muscle, and every tendon from Logan's body, leaving him deceased, leaving behind all the adamantium Apocalypse needs for Stark to build and reinforce the sphere and finally move forward with his plans. Now at this point, Otto asks to have a word with Apocalypse, which Octavius states that Stark will succeed. But the problem with the plan is that when Apocalypse moves into the Unmaker's mind, the only way out for Apocalypse would be to destroy the very planet they all currently on. And Apocalypse, he sees that Otto is a little too clever for his own good. And Apocalypse can't have someone as clever as Otto ruining his plans. So Apocalypse kills Otto by ripping him in half. I'm sorry, Otto, you just didn't make the cut. Or did you? Then we jump back to Wade's European bus tours of the wasteland. But the heroes, they're unaware that they only have 1 hour until Apocalypse truly lives up to his name. Fortunately, they have one of the greatest Marvel team-ups of the Dark Ages, the most innovative mind on the planet, Moon Girl, brainstorming with the most ruthless, Dr. Doom. Now, Miles and Devil Dinosaur were in no condition for an assault, so they stood behind to watch the kids, and the kids were told to stay behind and watch the dinosaur. I see what you did there, Peter. I see what you did. That's some grade A parenting if you ask me. Don't worry about what Doom said. You're doing a great job. Now, before we move on, Deadpool and Gabby share a moment over Otto Octavius' torn body, where Gabby cracks a joke about Otto now being like two Cortaviuses. Deadpool and I, we miss you, Gabby. And now, Everyone knows their part, and the plan is set, and it begins with a storm. And Stark's fear was almost done, and Apocalypse was moments away from ending the world. And although the plan was set in motion, the heroes had no clue what they were up against, and that Apocalypse would use their own friends against them. And now, their friends stood between them and saving the world. And Doom makes it clear to Sue that this changes nothing and to stick to the plan. And I must say, this is one hell of a starting lineup. Carol Danvers, Captain America, the Beast, She-Hulk, Dracula, Cyclops, Lady Deathstrike, and Killgrave. Now, while Killgrave is playing puppeteer, Pepper Potts and Storm are keeping Carol Danvers at bay. Deadpool is fighting Lady Deathstrike. Doom is trying to talk some sense into Dracula as Colossus and She-Hulk clash. And Spidey is mashing it up with Captain America as Killgrave watches on with utter joy like he just got the pay-per-view of the century for free. And you can't be met with disappointment like paying $80 for a Tyson pay-per-view for it to end in the first round. And that's exactly what happens. Well, at least for Jessica Jones, that is. Because Killgrave is met with a bullet from Deadpool's gun, point blank range, and all the fighting comes to a red light, green light halt, and there's screams of Wade in the air, because the plan was for Jessica and Luke to knock Killgrave unconscious, not put a bullet in his head. And Deadpool, he didn't hear that part of the plan. He was too busy driving the tour bus. But Deadpool, he feels bad, like he robbed Jess of some much needed catharsis and asks Jess if she wants to kick the corpse for a bit. Jesus. Now with Deadpool going full Deadpool on Killgrave, his influence is removed, and the friends once turned enemies are now allies again. And Apocalypse, being cocky and confident that he could finish this himself, this is when Moon Girl and Doctor Doom's full plan comes into effect, and they unleash Sue, a woman scorned on a kidnapped husband and a child. There's nothing worse. And Apocalypse, he can't feel or reach his powers because Sue has placed a force field in the frontal lobe of his brain, while Nightcrawler teleported in and snatched the protective armor right off his back, leaving Apocalypse even more vulnerable than he was before. Now, Moon Girl's plan was to permanently sever Apocalypse from his abilities, to give him a little lobotomy, but Doom had his own twisted plan he refused to tell the other heroes, and set Dracula in motion to finally put an end to Apocalypse. And how do you destroy an indestructible man? By making him a vampire, as Dracula sinks his teeth into the neck of Apocalypse, sending the vampiric virus coursing through his veins. And Blade comes swooping in for the kill, taking two madmen with one sword, driving one sword through the chest and heart of Apocalypse, and with one flawless swing from the other sword, severs the head of both Apocalypse and Dracula. And as heads roll, literally, friends are reunited and loved ones come together as Sue finally gets her husband Reed back, Pepper is reunited with Stark, and the X-Men are once again whole, with Beast, Colossus, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler teleporting in with Magneto. There are happy endings in the post-apocalyptic world, and Xavier was right. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. So forget the barren wastelands, forget the fashion dominated by leather and skulls, and all too common problems with roving cannibals. Because after the Dark Ages comes something better, as they walk off into the beautiful sunset of burning post-apocalyptic skies and dry wastelands. The end. And that concludes the 6-part series of Dark Ages, written by Tom Taylor, illustrated by Ivan Coelho, and Brian Reber as the color artist, and Joe Sabino as the master letterer. I just want to give some acknowledgement to the people that put all this hard work together so fans like us can enjoy the stories and art they bring us. So thank you. And if you like the series and Dark Ages, hit that like button. I could use the support. And if you like the content I'm bringing you, subscribe so I could bring you more content just like this. And I'm super happy and proud to announce that my boy Frank in July will be opening up a coffee and a comic shop local to Huntington Beach, California. So if you're local to the area or visiting, stop on by, tell him I sent you, and have yourself a coffee and a comic. And I'll see you in the comments. Peace.
It's my life.